So today I'm going to show you how to do an assembly for your puzzle. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to go up here, we're going to start, we'll go into home here. I've already started one, but just to show you, you can go to new, you can go to new up here, you can go to file new, or you can go to a new assembly right here. So if we go into new, you're going to see that there are two assembly types. There's a standard IAM and a weldment IAM. IAM standing for Inventor Assembly. We're going to do a standard IAM, and because of time, I've already opened one up. So the first thing I'm going to do is place my back bottom piece. And my back bottom piece, which is much easier to work this way, is an orange piece. So I'm going to bring that in, and it's just going to come in here, and I'm going to select it, and it's going to want it to bring in another piece. I'm just going to hit escape. A lot of times it'll come in with the front view. You just click once and hit escape. Okay, so now it's got all 6 degrees of freedom. So if I take my free rotate tool, this thing will spin around like crazy. It can go on all 3 planes and on all 3 axes. If you need to change that, you can come over to View Cube. You can change your view this way. You can rotate it around. You can select a corner. And then that corner, you can just right click it and you can say set current view as home and fit to view if you need to do that. Okay, I don't need to do that, so I'm not worried about it. There is another way of doing that as well. And that is that you could actually, when you double click on this part, it takes you into the IPT. And once you're in the IPT, you can go to the original sketch. So I can expand my origin here and expand extrusion 1. And I can go into sketch 1 here, and I can right click and I can say redefine. And I could actually change it instead of the XY plane or whatever. I could change it to another plane, and it would flip it around, and then it would actually be able to do that. It's working a little bit slow right now, so I'm going to just go ahead and go back into our assembly and do that. And we're going to minimize this. And remember, this is our browser bar. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to lock this into place. This has to be grounded. So I can do that one of 2 places. And I know it's not grounded because it doesn't have a little thumbtack up here on this little icon. I can either come over here and I can right click and I can go to grounded, or I can come over here and I have the same thing. I can right click and go to grounded. So I'm going to go over to this into the browser bar. I'm going to right click and I'm going to right click and I'm going to ground it. And now you'll see this little thumbtack here. And you'll also see that when I move over this, there's a thumbtack there. All right, I'm going to now bring in my next piece that has to be attached, which is going to be the red part. I'm going to bring that in here, and I'm going to escape. And here we're going to use constraint. We're not going to join, we're not going to show, we're not going to use any of these other things. We're just going to do simple constraints. And these are different from what you learned in the beginning. These are not linear constraints or geometric constraints. These are constraints where we actually just glue and face things together. There are a number of different types of constraints. There's mate, there's angle, there's tangent, insert, and symmetric. So we're going to just use mate, and we're going to use a 0 offset. And there is mate and there is flush with this mate constraint. We're going to go ahead and mate these two. What that does is just sticks them together, and I'm going to apply that. And then I'm going to flush the top with the top. Oops, and that doesn't work. That's kind of weird. So we're going to cancel that, because what it did is it flipped it around. So I'm going to hit the C button for my hotkey. I'm going to flush the side to the side first and apply that. Then I can flush my 2 top pieces and apply that. So that takes away all 6 degrees of freedom on that piece. I'm going to bring in my next piece. I can either go over here to place, or I can right click and go place component. Again, we've talked about how right click friendly this is. And I'm going to zoom this out a little bit, move this, and bring this down. Now, I have to arrange this in a way that I can get it to sit in here. As you saw, the red piece went upside down, and I don't want this to go crazy. Now, I can move this around by using my free rotate tool. My free rotate, notice that there's two ellipses right here. If I go this way, it's going to go just on the x-axis. If I go over here, just on the y-axis, and outside here, just on the z-axis. I can also do that over here with my view cube. I can just spin it around with my view cube as well. So right now, but I just want to move this one. Well, I can go up here and use this free rotate tool here, and I can arrange how I want this to go on right there. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and constrain this face to this face. I'm going to apply. You've got to make sure that you hit apply every time. If you don't apply it every time, it won't work. Now notice on the last one I did one mate, two flushes. I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to apply that. Notice here that I can move this up and down. I can't move it left or right. I can just move it up and down. Okay, so now I want to flush the bottom. And if I just come over here, I can flush that bottom. Go to my constraint. And I can flush the bottom there. I can apply that. Go back here to my start. I can hit P also for place. And this time I'm going to bring out my white part. Drop this over here. And I'm going to escape. And again, I'm going to rotate this so that it gets in the correct way, correct spot. And I'm going to constrain. And I'm going to zoom in on this a little bit. That piece, that piece. And I'm going to apply. Now, just for kicks and giggles, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to just move this around. And I'm going to show you how you can do two mates and one flush. So I can come in here and I can mate this side to this side, and I can apply that. Cancel that. Don't want it to do that. Mate this face with that face and apply. Then I'm going to just flush this outside here, and that takes care of that piece. So I go back home, cancel this out. I'm going to bring in my next piece, which is going to be my green piece. And I'm just going to drop this here, hit escape, rotate this around. Like that. And I'm going to go ahead and mate that face and that face together. And I'm going to flush. And you can see that a lot of times you're doing one mate and two flushes. Doesn't mean that you have to do it that way every time. Got that piece in, and the last piece that's going to come in is going to be my yellow part. Drop that into here, and I'm going to go around over here, and I'm going to rotate this around and up like so. I'm going to constrain these two faces together, and I'm going to flush these two pieces together, and one more flush, and this is created. Now, what happens if I make a mistake? That's a real question, right? Well, like everything else with this, you have all of your stuff right here. Now notice that the orange part, here's all the flushes and mates that go to the orange part. If I needed to, I could just come over here and I could delete this off. So if I delete out that mate, just like that, okay, now this moves up. And there you go. You can move that around however you want. All right, I'm going to Control Z that back in and make sure that I get that mate in place. And I go to home, and there you go. There's your assembly ready to roll. Hope you got a lot out of this. You can pause it at any time and go back and refer to this video.